Look at that. Is that another Baleno? Why are so many people buying Balenos these days? I mean, the blue color is so overrated already. It at least looks good in this color. Is it just Maruti mileage or is it actually a good car? Let's find out. Let's ask this guy why he bought this car, man. Bruh. Oh, it's Gautam's car. Why do you even buy this car, mate?
Let's find out.
Let's find out in this video.
Last year, the Baleno was the 6th highest selling car in India. And in this video, we're going to find out if this is the sensible or the right car to get. Let's start off with the exteriors in this video. If you see, for the person who has an untrained eye, it looks like a small facelift over the older generation of the Baleno. But actually, if you look at it for a longer time, you realize Maruti has done a lot of revisions, whether it's just the panels. The car is...
The original Baleno was a sedan.
Yeah, not the original. Okay, that was a good clarification from Athar's end. This is technically the 3rd gen of Baleno, but this is the 2nd generation of Baleno hatchbacks. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind. And yeah, like I was saying, Maruti has changed quite a bit. Even if it just comes to the panels, the older ones, the bonnet kind of ended over here. And even if you see the side profile, it comes out a bit more, and they've designed it to be a little bit more aggressive, whereas the previous generation of the Baleno was more fluidic. I think they have done a really good job designing it, especially not just the Baleno, even the Glanza, which in my opinion looked very ugly before, now looks better than the Baleno. So the Toyota team also has done a good job when it comes to design. Now let's come to the specifics of the design. You can see this characteristic body line that runs till the end of the car. It gives it like a wider feel, and this car is quite wide. We'll get into dimensions later. Here, this is the top spec alpha variant, so it has the 360-degree cam, auto folding mirrors when you lock the car, a chrome line that runs till the end of the car, and also this is all accessories as far as I know. A request sensor here and a chrome garnish on the door handle, again top spec and spec before these things. Then these are again things that are added to the end. We'll move on to the front of the car actually. You can see these precision cut alloys which come with the Alpha variant. The other one does not have precision cut alloys. The Delta variant, it comes with painted alloys, but that doesn't make a huge difference in my opinion. Now here is where you see the evolution of the Baleno. You can see the fog lamps have gotten quite bigger, and also the whole headlight has become different now. There is 3 elements. So the top spec variant and the base spec variant have a slight difference in the headlight. The first 2 variants have a halogen based LED, and the other 2 variants have a LED based headlight. And it's actually a pretty decent headlight. It's quite strong. It's become kind of a meme in the country. Baleno and Creta drivers and things like that. But obviously not as good as the Creta. But yeah, it does look good even in the Glanza. The DRL runs here as far as I know. No connected tail lamps or anything like that. A chrome lining that runs here. So they call this the Nexter LED. I don't know. That's just what they want to call it. They call this the big and bold Baleno. That's what they want to call the new facelift of the Baleno. And this is the next wave grille. Again, some naming schemes that Maruti is giving to their design. The naming is not important, but I think they've done a really good job with the design compared to the previous gen. The previous gen I felt wasn't as sporty or appealing. Definitely was sportier when it came to the engine options, but the looks I felt was very fluidic, and I wasn't a fan exactly of the looks. But with this generation, I really grew to appreciate it. The differentiating factor between the Glanza and the Baleno is the grille here. It's a lot more sportier. I think they've given it a carbon treatment, and the DRL. So this has more of like a, I don't know how to explain it, a non-sportier look, but a classier look for sure. Towing hook is here. And yeah, I think we can move on to the sides of the car or the back of the car. Yeah, there is a front camera again for the 360-degree cameras, which was a huge thing for us, and it was one of the reasons why we decided to get the Baleno in the end. We'll get back to that later, but now let's go to the back of the car. Now coming to the back of the car, you can see they have given it this tail lamp like this, which extends more, I think, again to give it an aggressive look, and also even in the sides they've squared it off a little bit. So some people are saying it's similar to the Wagoner treatment, where they make it more boxier with every generation, and I guess I can't deny. Again, a chrome lining that runs rear cameras and sensors again, and reflector over here. And yeah, the design is actually pretty understated, at least when it comes to the Baleno. I think it's a pretty good looking car, but again, looks are very subjective. But I think we can give them a side shot to see the body line that runs. So the dimensions of the car when it comes to length is 3,990 millimeters in length. Width is 1,745 millimeters in width. It's very wide. And the height is 1500 millimeters. The wheelbase is 2520 millimeters. You can probably show the wheelbase. And the ground clearance is a really good thing about this car. So usually hatchbacks, they have problems with the ground clearance. This has a whopping 170 millimeters of ground clearance. So you won't have issues when it comes to having, taking it on bad roads. Now let's move to the boot of the car, because that's also a very important thing when it comes to Indians and how we are known to ferry people. Okay, I need to unlock the car, which is one thing. You can see the key, it's pretty standard. I think it's not premium at all for this price range. Maybe Maruti, I think it's time they update their keys.
Yeah, I mean Hyundai on the other hand, they have like a standard key. Be it the Grand i10 or the Exter or the Creta, you get this.
Yeah, and this key is quite premium to feel, even in the hand. So I think it's time they upgrade this. And believe it or not, this is the key that they give on the top two variants. The other variants get another key. I'll show you that key later. But yeah, I'll unlock the car. There's also a rear wiper here, and there is also a spray. Like usual, we are struggling to locate it. It's hidden here behind this.
Yes, the camera.
And the defoggers are also there. And you can see boot space is quite good. It stands at 318 liters. Surely a downgrade from the previous generation of the Baleno. But I feel it's a manageable downgrade. It's not like a huge downgrade in any way, shape or form. But one major thing that you have to consider with the Baleno is that the loading lip of the car, that is the height at which you have to raise your luggage, I think I can show you, is very, very high. So especially if you're carrying heavy suitcases, you better be able to actually carry it before putting it into the car. But you can easily fit 3 suitcases inside this car. And boot space is not an issue. There's also a light here, which I think is fitted as an accessory. Hook here also, again, to keep some bags. So if you want to keep our bag here, we can just put it in the hook. But yeah, I don't necessarily like doing it. Then after that, spare wheel is located under this. I don't think it's a full-size spare wheel. I don't want to remove it also for this video, so I'll probably just show it to you guys later, maybe a picture of it. But yeah, that is it for the exteriors of the Baleno. I think we can move on to the surprising part of this car, which is the interiors. Okay, coming to the ingress and degress, or whatever you call it. Basically getting into the car. The door opens wide, but one thing I don't like is, okay, the door is heavy, unlike traditional Marutis, but especially when you're entering into a tight parking space, you don't have much control on where the door stops. That's just one thing you have to keep into mind. But it doesn't feel cheap or anything when you open the door. And I'll just keep this bag aside for a second. The car is kind of low. Like, I'm not saying the ground clearance is an issue, but the car is low, so it's not hard to get in. From what I have noticed, my grandparents never really struggle getting into the car. And the best thing about this car is the legroom. You feel like you're sitting in an executive sedan, not like a S-Class or anything, but like maybe you feel like it's comparative to the Honda City and things like that. And the seats are actually very comfortable. I'll get to why the seats are not leather seats I'll cover it later.
I mean,
but yeah,
most cars in this price point don't give leather seats, so I don't think it's...
Yeah, but there's a specific reason why Maruti has not included leather seats. But actually the seats are quite comfortable to go on long drives and things like that. So I would not complain about the seats.
Headroom?
And headroom is one thing, very important thing to talk about, because this car characteristically is
like a
this thing.
design.
There is a sloping design. So if you're someone over 6'2", probably you wouldn't be able to sit in the back. So keep that in mind before buying it.
I mean, if you compare to the other cars you've tested till now, you can see that the Gautam itself has less headroom.
Yeah, and I'm not known for being tall. But that's one thing you have to keep in mind, the headroom. But you also can sit in a relaxed position, so it's not a problem. I'm just sitting very upright right now. If I were to sit relaxed, then you can definitely see headroom not being an issue. But if you're above 6'2", probably skip and get a bigger car. This also applies to the Francs because
it has a similar design.
Yeah, similar design, and also the slopingness of the roof is more on the Francs. So keep that in mind. One good thing that Maruti has done is, I guess while we are at the back, we'll also cover the interiors at the back. Headrests for everyone. So if you bought the original version of this car, then it came out in 2022, it did not have the middle passenger headrest. This was a safety feature they added later, which is very good that Maruti included it. And I think it would have been even nicer if they included it to the other people who had also bought the car originally. But yeah, all are adjustable headrests, so you don't have to worry about the safety. There are also, pardon us for the dirty seats. I mean, dirty in the sense like cluttered. But there are also ISOFIX child mounts, so that is also not... I don't know, they have not abandoned that aspect of it. I think Maruti is trying to go upcycle. I mean, this is their premium hatchback, so you have to keep that in mind. I think we can... there is also an air conditioner here, so like a blower mainly, and you can control if it's open or closed and things like that. Here there is a USB-A and a USB-C and a little cubby to keep your phone while charging, which is nice. Magazine holders here. It's kind of small though for a magazine holder. And chrome finish here. These things are very standard Maruti. I think it's been there since the Swift, so that you don't have to keep in mind. Then the bottle holders are kind of small. That is also a very Maruti thing to do, so keep that also in mind. One good thing is they have included the soft touch panels here. This is all hard plastic, but soft touch where you're actually interacting with it. Glossy black, piano black finishes. So the places where you're actually interacting, Maruti definitely has tried to make it premium. Now let's move on to the interiors of the car, and then we'll get to the driving experience. Okay, let's cover the interiors of this car, and I quite like these interiors. When I first sat in it, it felt very unlike a Maruti. Let's start off with the steering wheel and the whole aspect of it. So now I'll handle the camera. Yeah, the steering wheel is a 3-spoke steering wheel with a flat bottom, trying to give that Audi treatment. But yeah, I can actually see that the design is inspired by the VW group. If anyone's been following the Audi head steering wheel, this thing, you can see that this is kind of a copy of it, but it's really nice to hold. There's no steering wheel cover on this right now. There's this again like grey color trim or whatever they've given. Moving on to the buttons, volume adjust here. So does it? Yeah, you can see it updating. And here there's a mode button. So now it's shifted to FM, AM. Well, I don't know what DRM is. And okay, let's go to CarPlay now. The speedometer is analog. It shows the fuel gauge, the speedometer, tachometer, and the heat. And there's also this digital display in between. I think it looks pretty nice, but I don't know why it goes till 220. This car ain't ever going till 220 anyways. I don't know what Maruti was thinking. But yeah, there's a lot of display modes. If you see idle, stop time, the clock, the motion in front or rear, torque, accelerator, like the curve, and also average fuel economy. I know it looks like the average fuel economy is bad, but we just resetted it like yesterday, and I'm driving a little bit aggressively. Usually you get around 14 kilometers per liter. That I'll talk about later. And yeah, instantaneous mileage comes here as a graph. I would prefer it to be as text, but yeah. Then one thing is that the buttons are not here for the digital display. It's actually hidden here, very Maruti like. So you can see the trip meter. This car has probably gone like what, 3,800 kilometers. Yeah.
Now one thing I felt is that this thing over here, first of all, it doesn't add much to the aesthetic, and it looks pretty cheap.
That I agree with.
They could have just added something here like the other cars which we've reviewed so far.
Yeah, that is one thing Maruti could have done, and I think these buttons were for the ADAS related features which comes in the Francs abroad, not in India. And this is all for the cruise control, which I never use. These are the call buttons, very
weird position,
but I think you get used to it eventually, especially with my car also it's the same. And then now it's like, it doesn't obtrude here, this thing.
It's a Maruti thing.
Yeah, it's a Maruti thing. Pick up the call, cut the call, and voice assistant. So on one click, it goes to the Maruti voice assistant. And for a long press, it goes to Siri.
Yep.
So that is that. Here it's not a key start, at least this variant is not. It comes with auto start stop because it is paired with the automatic gearbox. and it has a heads-up display, so I think we can check that out. On pressing the heads-up display button for a while, you can see the
heads-up display, by the way. Today I learned.
Yeah, I used to play Fortnite, so I knew it before, but yeah, heads-up display, you can see that. And I think there are multiple modes also. By clicking this, you can see the modes. I think if I zoom in, yeah, oh, this is better. You guys can see the multiple modes that are there. When driving also, the modes will change. And the fun thing is, now if I put a route on Google Maps, it also updates here. And when I'm driving and I'm updating the blower, right, or if I'm like changing the temperature, yeah, it shows there. So you don't have to look at it while driving, which is pretty good in my opinion. I think it's kind of cool that Maruti thought of it. There are also adjustments for the position.
Yeah, if you want it higher,
height,
or lower.
Higher or lower base. So if you're a taller driver, you preferably would like it higher. Yeah. So that and all you can adjust. It's cool that Maruti included all that. Then brightness also.
There's so many controls on this car. I mean, it kind of feels cluttered at one point, but all of them are kind of necessary.
Yeah. Then traction control off. Then this is the view button. We'll cover the 360-degree camera later. And this is the auto start stop. It always turns on. I know it's an emission thing, but it's very, very aggressive, the auto start stop. So that is one thing you have to keep in mind. Here the buttons are quintessential Maruti. I mean, it's been there since the Swift, like I was saying. And here the mirror controls for auto folding, and here again more mirror controls. Same buttons. I think they could have at least chromed this up to make it better. It's been more than 20 years now, Maruti. I think it's time you upgraded the buttons. Good thing is there's like soft touch materials here. This is all hard plastic, but it doesn't, for the segment, it doesn't feel real that cheap, but this part is all premium. That's good. Then this is again hard plastic. Here some treatment has been done, but I think we can move on to the mirror. Both sides have a vanity mirror with a light, which is again a nice thing to do, but no LED. I anyways don't like LED, so not a problem for me.
Yeah, these are also...
I like the coziness halogen lights give, but obviously most people prefer LED, so I think Maruti should have included LED. Auto dimming function on the OVRM, and that's good when driving at night. But the thing is, like, if it's a bigger car and there are a lot more in the back, here it will dim, but in the sides it won't dim. But that's how it is in all the cars, so can't complain. Like, it's not a Maruti specific complaint.
Yeah, you can come to the center console now, and
it is, I think, a 12-inch display. It's their SmartPlay Pro Plus, and I think it's a really, really good system. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's way huger. I mean, the bigger cars like the Safari also doesn't have such a huge display, and they've given a lot of touch controls here, which is kind of interesting. I think it's good to have a power on/off button on here, compared to finding it in the settings.
But one problem is, I would have preferred if it was physical dials, especially for the volume adjustment and things like that. I don't want to look for it. And
but you have volume adjustment here when you're driving, so that is there always.
And one thing people were complaining is that in the previous generations, I think this was not illuminated. Now this is illuminated, so that's...
So mute, you have your volume up, down. Home is for this, and then you have your
calls and things.
And music, obviously. This goes to the preset one, and you can go to all of your thing. Here you get the fuel indicators here as well, which is interesting, considering most people don't even need this here. Then you have all your other controls here, date, time. I think it kind of looks cluttered. You don't need this information here, and you also don't need the time and date here. You can rather have like a simple menu.
I think you can also customize the menu. So
settings, and then probably in display it should be there. No.
Wallpaper mode. Okay, there's a lot of settings we haven't discovered, but this is how it would look out of the box. You can have different sounds and things like that for different things. If you want your ringtone to be louder or something like that, you can...
Yeah, this is all, you can change the clock type and things like that. But in general, I feel it's very cluttered, like compared to the
Hyundai
ones. Hyundai has a more like organized setup. The Apple CarPlay covers the entire display, so it's huge. You don't have to worry about that, considering that it covers the entire 12-inch compared to like the Safari already has the smaller
Yeah.
thing, and then the CarPlay is basically effectively a small square. But in this you have no problems,
And
since
the-
it's connected to the HUD also, you should be way more comfortable with
The
navigating.
resolution is quite good in my opinion. Text is definitely readable, and they have somehow tackled glare. Obviously, it won't look same in all the segments. I think this only comes in the alpha variant of the car.
You've got to
The
be an
other ones
alpha
have
male to drive this car.
yeah, you gotta be an alpha male to drive this car. But other variants have a slightly smaller display, and one cheap thing that they have done is they have given like a matte plastic around it to make it look cheaper. That they shouldn't have done. I think they should have given this glossy piano black finish material. I think
Coming to the
it looks good.
AC controls,
There's
I think
automatic
this is pretty-
aircon.
This is pretty I mean, it's a more sort of a press button compared to a knob, so that's an interesting design choice. And you press auto to turn the AC on. I thought it's the AC button, so that's some things you have
I
to
think
get.
both work. I think.
No, the AC button doesn't work, so you
Okay.
have to press auto, and then AC is for whether you want the fan or the AC. And then you have an off here, front and rear defoggers, and here to choose where you want your AC to come, if you want it in your legs and stuff. This is for the circulation, internal and external.
Yeah, and I think the AC is pretty good. The air compressor is very small. I think we didn't do an engine footage, but yeah, the air compressor is small. The blower, in my opinion, is loud in anything that is not one.
Yeah, it is really loud.
It can get very loud, but it can also chill the cabin really fast.
Yeah.
But I prefer to keep it on 1 and keep it probably on 23 degrees Celsius or something like that. Then here there's a 12-volt socket for any accessories. Here there's a USB-A. This also, if it was USB-C, it would have been nice, but
Or they could have just added one more port, but it's
yeah.
fine. I mean,
But anyways, there's 2 ports accessible from here to the back, so
yeah.
that
And we forgot
here
to
there
talk
is
about
a
small box here.
small tray probably to keep the keys and stuff,
Keys, and you can fit a couple of cables. That's
which
all.
is very nice. I think having a
Yeah, at least having it is better. Like you can at least rest your
and
hand here also.
you can slide it forward also. So
Okay,
you can,
that's something I
you can. It's actually usable, and I've seen
Yeah.
the people who own this car actually use it. So that's a cool
I
thing.
mean, compared to
Handbrake
the
is
extra.
manual handbrake, and
I felt it was pretty hard to lift it compared to the extra. When I pull it up, it goes all the way up. So
and glove box is very small, very characteristic of Maruti. But the glove box is actually genuinely small. It doesn't even close when A4 paper is.
it does close.
But it crumples the paper, so that you have to keep in mind. Bottle holders are small again. I think we can move on to the drive of the car. What would have been nice is metal pedals.
That's something that the
There's a
extra
proper
has.
dead pedal here, which is good. So actually has space for my left leg to rest.
Remove your leg.
Let's see.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we can move on to the driving.
So
we
bad.
can also listen to the speaker actually because
Yeah, while we are on the
before
move.
while we are on the move.
Yeah, so
Oh, Athar just put the at the.
that's what I said. When I pulled it up, I had to pull it up a lot.
No, you don't have to pull it up to the topmost.
Yeah, that is there, but if I had to increase the volume.
It has a 6. This variant has a 6-speaker arkamys sound system. It has surround sense, but I'm not specifically a fan of the tweeters in this car. I prefer a better 4-speaker setup. No, 2 in the front and 2 here. I mean, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. 2 here.
This car definitely gives you the power you need immediately on axis compared
Oh
to
yeah, definitely.
compared to the extra.
And it's very keen to upshift. Very keen to upshift. That's characteristic of the AMT.
Yeah, that's something I've always struggled with the Exter. It doesn't like to upshift at all. Or it's very late. Like I touched 35, 36 and that's when it changed third
And
gear, and that's what I
You won't
noticed.
believe it, when we just reached this point, we had already done 5th gear. So but there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the driving dynamics of this car. Actually, this car is very wide, and most people who buy this car come from a lower segment in the sense segment of the car, and I think they have nailed it when it comes to driving experience of this car. This car is not sporty. I'll be honest, this car is not sporty. I've driven the newer Swift, and the newer Swift is fun to drive. this is a 4-cylinder engine. That's one thing that differentiates it with some of its rivals. But this car feels very muted in the sense. If you see the way the suspension is, especially over bad roads, the suspension in this car is I would say the best thing of the car compared to its rivals. I think Maruti has done a solid job when it comes to suspension. It doesn't feel like a Maruti car. And this is not just me glazing Maruti. If you see other reviews also, the reviewers seem to agree that they have made the ride feel very nice, and especially with these seats that like kind of hug you, I feel that this is a good car to go on for trips. And for me it's definitely a wider car, but for other people I don't think they will struggle with the width of this car specifically.
Yeah, I mean braking is also pretty good from now. I mean that the previous hump we just at last moment pressed the brake and we didn't feel anything as such jolting wise. Good thing is Maruti doesn't give you a sunroof, and it's not even needed in this car.
One thing is there, because the cabin second color is a darker color, you might feel claustrophobic in this car. In fact, our initial perception of this car was that we felt very claustrophobic, so we actually decided to go against it, but then we came around later. One thing from what you're driving right now is when you're giving the accelerator, it flies. Compared to the Exter, compared to the Exter, it does feel sporty, but when you compare it to the i20 N-Line or the normal base i20, this car feels very sluggish. There is definitely a throttle delay because of the AMT that is paired with this, compared to the torque converter based or the DCT that Hyundai provides with their cars. So there is that delay, especially you can see the shifts, right?
Yeah.
There is a delay because of the AMT system, but my mother, who's the primary owner of this car, has been driving AMT for the past 10 years, and I'll tell you, the AMT on this car is leagues ahead of the AMT that was there on the Celerio. It's so much more smoother, so much more bearable, so less jerkier, and that's probably why we didn't have a problem with the AMT. And the fun fact is the AMT mileage that is claimed is better than the manual. So the claim mileage is 23 kilometers per liter for the automatic AMT variant, AGS as Maruti likes to call it, and the manual is 22.5. Now obviously in city what you notice is very different from ARAI, but what I have noticed is varying between 14 and 16.
How much does ARAI claim?
Like I said, 23.
Okay, 23. I wasn't listening.
So that is mileage. You'll get 14 to 16 easily in the city. Yeah, the mileage is not a concern with this car.
I mean, Maruti is known for their good mileage, and there's no comparing that. I mean, 14, 16 compared to hardly 10 which I get on the Exter. So yeah, that is that of the mileage point of view.
Taking it over a bad road, if it were on any other car, it would have felt a little bit more pronounced. I think the suspension of this car is actually sweet. If you see, the back has crazy blind spots in this car, even though there's a smaller window there in the back. Can you see the back from here?
No, like I'm trying to see from the mirror, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a small window there, but it's useless because the C-pillar is gigantic.
Yeah, that.
And the rear window is like kind of small, so be very careful of your surroundings when turning.
That's
in this
where
car.
the 360 cam comes
And that's
into
where the
play.
360-degree camera comes into play. I shall indicate right, wait for people to go, and then take a U-turn. Turning radius is okay, definitely good to drive in the city. The older Baleno was mated with a CVT gearbox for the top end, and CVT is more fun to drive, less mileage but more fun to drive, no shifts because it's just bands, right? So people really prefer to get a CVT in their luxury hatchback, but what happened is Maruti realized that their target consumers still have a budget to consider, and the good thing is the AMT variant and the manual variant, the price difference is only reduced down to 30,000 rupees.
Damn.
Because of smart cost cutting that Maruti is able to do, they were able to really cut down the cost there, and thereby promote a lot more people to get the automatic variant. And that's definitely, I think, played out well in the sales game for Maruti, because I feel it's definitely beating a lot of the Baleno is beating a lot of its competitors. Don't hesitate from checking the car out because of the AMT. I think you will like it. Only one thing about AMT is it's fun. Like you will have to sometimes flow down on the accelerator to overtake. So overtaking has to be a little bit pre-planned.
I want to talk about the handbrake. Like I said, the handbrake before is so hard.
No, you lift it up and then push it down.
Yeah, but still, it's compared to the Exter, it's a bit more resistant.
It has more travel also.
Yeah, overall, one thing if I get used to, I like is the 360 cameras, and yeah, I think one more thing I might appreciate is the HUD, but that may be an initial thing, and after a point, it'll become a distraction, and I'll just have to end up closing it. But yeah, initially it may be the novel thing that you have it, but when you close it, it doesn't affect the visibility much because you anyway can't see the bonnet because of the design of this car. Yeah, the accelerator is a bit hard to press, especially if you want to speed up, but
you can also test the horn. Not here probably, but
yeah, the brake is similar to the Exter. I feel
there's a hump,
kind of smooth.
Oh, okay, I didn't feel that.
Yeah, neither did I. It was a small hump, so, and that's just a testament of the suspension. Probably the brakes are good. Don't have to give that much brake to reduce speed. Coming to the conclusion, I think what was the price of this? I think this is the top end.
11 lakh with discount.
The top end variant for 11 lakh is absolutely a steal for what features you get. I mean, 360-degree cam is not something you will get in any other car, and heads-up display and good mileage coming from the Exter. Yeah, I mean,
the engine gets very loud, especially if you floor. I think Athar was used to having to press down on the accelerator more because the Exter isn't very eager to accelerate.
Yeah, and I think because this upshifts a bit more easily, that's another point which I see in the comparison.
Which is how it's able to get that those mileage figures. I guess that with that we can conclude this video. Probably I'll just talk about the 360-degree camera for a bit. Especially when taking it in smaller roads, I think that was one thing. Yeah, you can see it. We were very clear we wanted this feature, especially in thin roads where you weren't sure if your car can make it. We decided to just get one with this, and the resolution's okay. It's not great, but adaptive guidelines and things like that Suzuki has put. You can see all the views. There's the side view also, very useful in thin roads actually. This is like a whole bird's eye view. So yeah, definitely try this car out. I think you might be surprised at how much value this car is offering at this.
I think at 11 lakh I'm shocked at how much features Maruti is able to give. I don't notice any cost cuttings. I mean, they've sure made some, but they've not made it visible to the consumer. I mean, they could have given hard plastics here, but they've given the extra cladding and things like that. So small things Maruti has taken care of, which they generally don't. And the Nexa lineup in general looks pretty solid in terms of what it has to offer.
Oh, also one thing I didn't mention is it has 6 airbags. Now all the Maruti cars have 6 airbags, but we bought this when not all Maruti cars had 6 airbags.
Yeah, I mean the Wagoners also get 6 airbags now.
And the reason why we can't put leather seats on this is because there's airbags in the seat. So if you see, I think there's a badge here, SRS airbag, even there near other side it's there. Oh. So the airbag is in the seat, so that's why you can't have full covering leather seats in the top variant of the car, or I think all variants of the car now, since 6 airbags are mandatory. But yeah, that is it for this video. We'll catch you guys in another video. If you want us to do a more in-depth review of this car, we probably can, but that you have to let us know. Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.